So, in the last session, we have discussed about reading and writing files. This is a synchronous way. Thus, the function itself read file sync is nothing but this synchronous way. But in this synchronous way of calling, using this type of functions, we may face many drawbacks in our system API. For suppose there is an application which is accessing by multiple users, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. In synchronous way, the problem is if user 1 is accessing the login page and at the same time user 2 is also accessing the login page, until and unless the user 1 has finished with that page, user 2 cannot access his login page. That is the problem in the synchronous. That's why we have new method of using those functions in asynchronous way, or we can call it as like a non-blocking method. It won't block any code and will execute, leaving the code in running in the background. Let me comment this so that we won't get confused. So what is asynchronous way of calling? In this as asynchronous way, we use callback functions. Suppose let me read file, that's it. This is the way of calling functions in asynchronous way. This function will accept arguments, 3 arguments. One is path of the file. Let me let me create a new file here. Like I will give it as a new text or first file, which is we are calling now reading first file dot txt. Let me give the first file name here, text1 dot txt, and save it. Now come back here and now read the first file dot txt. Give the encoding, like which is the language, it is UTF-8, and here we need to give a callback function to call the result of the file in asynchronous way. Nothing but we need to use an arrow function which has both arguments, error as well as data which we are accessing. From this, if data comes, just console.log data which is coming from that file which we are reading. Let me also console.log this loading file is loading. Here this is the asynchronous function. It won't, in synchronous way, it will wait until and unless this line of code will execute, and after that it will give a execute next line. But here in asynchronous way, this function will run in the background and it won't wait for others. other lines. It will just go with the flow and it will continue and execute this statement first. Like for example, this file is loading and then the output of the file will come logged in the console. Let me run to show you. First clear this cls command. Next up arrow key 2 times. Now node.js. See, first file is loading came, and next what is the text of the file, first file that has been logged. We have written text1.txt, so that next that one is logged. Now again read this text1.txt using the data which came from this first file. Using the data of the first file, we are reading now this text1.txt. That's why I have given the same name in the data of the first file text. So again fs.read file, again same. Give the arguments given a template string so that you can include variables dollar and flavor brackets data. It is nothing but text1.txt. Before that dot slash text1.txt, then language you need to specify UTF-8 and arguments callback function, which is nothing but if any error comes, if data is not there or file is not there, and data 2. Let me name it as data 2. So now console.log data 2. Let me run once again. See, file is loading text1.txt and we have read that text1.txt file. Inside that, what is your name? Now if I want to create a new file using this data and data 2, for suppose I will write a file now. Inside this fs dot write file, to write a file you need to specify the path of the file. Dot slash I am creating final, for suppose final.txt, and data which I want to give. Here I want to insert data plus data 2. So let me use template string variables data, and new line I will use here slash n, again variable data 1, data 2. So using this text, which is nothing but text1.txt and what is your name, these two I am inserting into a new file which won't return any data, just an error if it fails to insert the data into the file. Let me write some message after inserting data. Let me write some message like console.log new file has been created successfully. That's it. Let me run once again. Node index.js. See, file is loading. Then text1.txt, which is nothing but data, and next data2, which is nothing but inside the text1.txt data, what is your name, and we have used those two texts into a new file, and we have got the message new file has been created successfully. And if you see the sidebar also, a new file final.txt has been created. If I open this, see text1.txt and what is your name, which is nothing but data and data2, which we have used from the callback functions. But this will include like many callback functions. In this case we call as a callback hell. We can handle this callback hell using promises and APIs. We will see later those, but to explain this, this is the asynchronous way of calling functions, so that this is the best way to use any APIs, so that nothing will be blocked. And let me show this error also once. If any error we face here, for suppose this first file is not there, for suppose I am making as first files, this file is not existing in our current folder, so it gives an error. So if any error, if error, sorry, inside if error, then return, let me console dot log no file exists error. So let me see what will be printed. Let me create CLS and let me run once again. See, file is loading, but there is no file exists, which I have written, and the error code, no such file or directory, because there is nothing, no file with the name first files dot txt. That's why it given error. Let me remove it once again. First file, and again I am running node index.js. See, now as it is, file is loading and all our data has been successfully happened. That's it.